Good evening, how are you? Welcome, Captain Jack. It has been a while, my friend. It is good to see you. Hopefully you're well. Hello, everybody. Welcome. So tonight we have no Tom. He might be swinging by in the chat later on. So you are stuck with me. I am back in the country and I am doing some content once again. So welcome. Tonight I will be working on continuing the base. If you haven't seen this on TikTok or TikTok or Instagram even, I am working on this base for the Titan. It is slowly getting there. It's looking very impressive on this webcam. I've still got a bit of work to do on it, but it's getting there. Yes, I'm good. I am getting back into some form of normality. I've been away with work into mainland Europe, and I'm back now. So it's all good. Like I said, getting back to some normality, trying to get back into the hobby. Hopefully everything calms down a bit. I can get some content out for you guys. It's been far too long, unfortunately. Life gets in the way occasionally. Good. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. What a lovely surprise. Hello, my friend. How are you? Been far too long. Awesome to see you. Hopefully you guys are all doing hobby tonight as well. So I've got a choice between things at the moment. So I currently have, as I said, big base. Got to do a bit of work on this. I've got to do some bit more work on this auto cannon. What else was I looking at? I need to do a bit of work on. I think that was it, really. I think the auto cannon's the main thing. Maybe a bit of rust on this metal at the front here. But most of that's done. And yeah, honestly, this looks brilliant in this lighting. So I've got some more work to do on that. And obviously, I need to do some more Necrons. So hopefully you guys are all doing a bit of hobby. What are you working on? Jay, what are you working on? Captain Jack, what are you working on? Vicky, someone else lurking around? What's everyone doing tonight? And hopefully people have pancakes today if they're that way inclined. Fingers crossed. Oh, hello, Mr. Blue. Grots. Very cool. Very cool. That's good to hear. What kind of grots? Normal grots? Grots that go in a big, the armor big gun? Grots that go in a big suit? What kind of grots are we looking at? I'll start doing some warriors. Warrior instructions. What do you guys want to talk about tonight? Obviously, I can keep talking for the sake of talking. We can talk hobby. We can talk personal lives. We can talk politics. We can talk film. We can talk TV. I mean, anything tonight. Let's talk about anything. Infantry and some gun crews. Very cool. Captain Jack's working a few finished bits on Marines. The main thing is gun. Nice. So as I said, I've been away working. So I haven't really had much hobby, unfortunately. I have been listening to a couple of things. Been listening to Mark of Calf, the audio novel on that one, and that's pretty cool. A little bit all over the place, but that's what you kind of get with short stories, unfortunately. And Nemesis, I'm currently listening to by James Swallow, I think it is. I read the book, and it was like a 2-for-1 offer on Audible, and I was like, oh, let me get that, because I can't remember that much about it. I'm quite enjoying it so far. Actually, it's quite nice. Think you'll have the Titan painted in time? Yes, I really hope so. Actually, I don't know if my headphones will lead over there, so I might take these off for one moment to show you what I did that day off yesterday. So, one moment. Bass is one thing I did. So there you go. The paint is starting to go on this bad boy. I've done a coat of black. I'm going to do a thin coat of silver as well on there. But yeah, if you actually look at the base. Oh, look at the base. Paranoid about this. And Jay working on tonight's starting on the Iron Warriors. Yes. Nice. Without kind of fiddling around too much, it's kind of going to be positioned kind of like on here. It's very hard because he's black at the moment. It's very hard to point out where it's going to be. But yeah, essentially it's like that. It's kind of stomping through this terrain piece. But yes, Mr. Titan will be finished in time. Looking forward to it. So yeah, it's going to be a bit of a challenge, to be honest. Like I said, life and work, and I don't know if I said I've got COVID. That was a bit of a downer. And all this stuff is really kind of just getting in the way. But my calendar is looking relatively clear. So projections are good for Titan completion. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. It's looking, honestly, I'm so excited about getting this guy on the board. Have you guys seen the top half of the Titan? I don't know if you have or you haven't. Hopefully, if you're watching the videos you have, you might not have seen it yet. I'll get that in a bit. I'll show you guys. Or this guy's going to look brilliant. Right, let's look at some instructions here. So what are we working on for the Iron Warriors? Is it more Marines? Is it something fancy and new? What do you think the situation is with them? Where are... No, I do not want those instructions. I want the ones for the basic warriors, please. Vicky, if you're still there, what are you working on currently? I'm hoping chaos. Hello, it's Phil. Good to see you. Fishing touches to second defiler. Nice. Vicky, what are you arming your defilers with? Hopefully something vicious. Obviously a battle cannon. That's a standard for Defilers. Jamie, updating the Chaos Marines. The new Marines are very nice. I don't know if you have, but have you seen the new Kill Team box that's coming out? You've got some very nice looking models in that Kill Team, actually. I'm more impressed by that than the that box release with Elder. Was took a break from painting for a couple of weeks. Back end this time. Very cool. Very cool. Vicky, Reaper Autocannon, Scourge for the one, Reaper Cannon, Flamer. Yeah, nice. Mix it up a little bit. Very cool. Demon. Wouldn't mind some thoughts on demons for 40k. Thinking of making an army for AOS and 40k, but never dabbled in a full demon army. Well, my thoughts of demons currently in 40k and my experience with demons. So very rarely do I run a whole demon army. I've played against whole demon armies before, but one of the main things for me for demons in 40k is I love the ability that everything essentially can go in deep strike and then get either summoned in or just appear. I think it's kind of limited somewhat with obviously X amount has got to be on the board, and currently it really costs command points to be putting any of this stuff in to deep strike that you can pop in. So that's a bit sucky. I think demons are really overdue, like more units, really more data sheets need to be put in, or data sheets, because they don't have offshoots like a lot of armies. They don't have like chapters or legions or clans or all sorts of shenanigans. Essentially, that's it. 4 gods. Poof. There you go. And they're such a major part of the lore, demons. So I'd love to see them kind of get a little bit more love in the new Codex. Obviously, I'm a bit biased towards Khorne. May not know. But when you're making the army and you're god specific, you're quite limited, except for maybe in some cases, maybe no, we get a bit more selection with what you can get. Demons is 4 armies stuffed in one book, trying to work together. Yeah, and I think they've really got to solve that problem though, because if you look at a lot of these armies at the moment, the way they're rolling them out is you've got to have your own chapter. They've all got to be in the same chapter, or the same dynasty if you're going to do back play, blah blah blah. And chaos, it's very hard to go mono god. You really want to be dipping into these other gods a little bit, and I think maybe there's some room there. I mean, currently they can, by the way, they can do this with the certain bits to a degree. But I think Undivided really should give you some more bonuses than you currently have. I don't know what people's views are on that, but I think Undivided really should have more say to it than just you can't have this and this and this. Because obviously you have Be'lakor, but you don't always want to have Be'lakor. On a slightly political note, I've just noticed my green stuff is a bit of a Ukrainian flag going on with that. But yeah, I really hope demons get a bit of love, because they really deserve something. Because like you said, Jack, to have an army that you can use at AOS and 40k, you think more people will be on it and doing these bits. Like the Demon Prince model now, although I've got a couple of them, really needs a bit of an update. It'd be quite nice to get a couple more different variants coming out. mean, which one of the 4 gods is the most neglected when it comes to models? I think maybe Zinch. What do you think? Just go look up one thing, guys. So we're talking a little bit about Iron Warriors earlier. When I was away, I had a day off work. Went to a German castle, Quenstein. Essentially, it's like a hill fortress, not been touched. Like, it's never been under siege. It's things that, like, it's absolutely a beautiful masterpiece. And you kind of look at it from like a tactical point of view, and you're looking at, like, if I was to attack this fortress, I'd need a lot of people to be getting through this fortress, like line after line after line. And I was thinking, God, Porto Rabo would be so proud of these guys. Captain Jack Corn for sure. Yeah, I think Nurgle's had quite a lot of love. The Slanesh's definitely have too much love. So I was thinking, yeah, it's either Zinch or Corn. I don't know. Zinch or Corn, which one needs more love? What has... It's a tough one. Slaanesh army really does need update with the Marines for the Emperor's Children. I think the demon side for Chaos, for Slaanesh, they're definitely okay with those new models that come out. But for the Marine range, yeah, I completely agree. Like, the Emperor's Children need something. It's like they're such an obvious army to get an update and a Codex Emperor's Children. Although, Iron Warriors weren't there, it's the third one as well. But Emperor's Children, it would be absolutely brilliant if they got themselves a new Codex. They really suffer, like the Khorne Berserkers with the noise Marine kit, and the Berserker kit it's just like, come on, like, release something else, guys. I've seen some really beautiful conversions for Noise Marines, and kind of like, I think when we've seen the AOS Slaanesh Knights, or basically, I can't think what they're called, the guys for AOS, the very Slaaneshi ones with like the helms and the shields and the fancy swords. It's almost they've got the aesthetic now in mind that they can kind of put across the Emperor's Children in 40k, and it would look absolutely stunning. I think it could probably work with the current kits for Blood Angels, maybe, and see if you can kind of work something out there. But they definitely need some love. Because we've got Lucius. He's possibly the last character that needs an update now for Chaos Space Marines. Anyone else think of any other Chaos Space Marine special character that has not had a new kit in the last 10 years? Because I've got Typhus. Khan's got a new kit. Araman's got a new kit. Abaddon's got a new kit. Cypher's had a new kit. Fabius has had a new kit. Who else is there? Am I missing someone else? Obviously, just Lucius. Yeah, I think Lucius is the last one to get an update. So fingers crossed, he'll get a nice new model. Yeah, true. Blackheart. Yeah, good point. Blackheart. When was his model released? Because I really don't count that as old as Lucius, but maybe they are a similar age. I mean, the aesthetics look quite close to each other. Oh, here comes the old bit of food supply. Hang on. Let's see what I've got. Pancake party! Nice. And also, then, on the note of characters, what characters have been lost throughout the years and you would like to see come back? Yeah, Ghost Rider, I was just thinking that. So he's not Ghost Rider. Very similar in a lot of ways. Nicolas Cage can do the voice of both. Good pancakes. Got some more Chaos Spaceman Codex here. Let's have a quick little butcher's through. Classic bit of artwork there. That's Mark Gibbons. Mark Gibbons. Oh, Wayne England. Silly me. Right, let's have a look here. Got special characters. Doom Rider. Okay. Going through this edition, we have Abandoned and a Spoiler. Warmaster of Chaos. Araman, Doom Rider, Cypher, Card of Betrayer, Fabius. Okay, so we didn't even have Typhus at this point, by the look of it. That's interesting. Yeah, so even then we didn't have all these characters. We had a few of them in here, but we didn't have everyone. So those who don't know, Doom Rider is the biker, the biker demon prince. I believe he is a demon prince. Let's have a look. Anything here? Yeah. Although once mortal, Doom Rider has been raised to demonhood by the Chaos God, Slanesh. He is treated as being invulnerable and therefore makes armor saves against any and all wounds he takes, even those that would normally pierce his armor and allow no armor saves to be made. And he can be summoned. That's pretty cool. Imagine if they redid that model. That could look absolutely stunning. The new design, what they can do with it. Come, Mr. Blue. Any other characters that you would like to see returned? Or anyone else? I realise at this point, I've done almost no hobby. The most hobby I've done so far is pick up some clippers, look at some instructions for Necron Warriors, drink beer, and then have pancakes. Some would say these are fun streams. But hopefully you guys are doing some hobbying at home, and my voice is just comforting you as you hobby, soothing you. Where is... Aha! Right, classic Codex of Chaos. Let's have a look. What have we got in here? Now, if you haven't seen this Codex before and you're interested in some of the old Codexes, we have got a Codex review on this book. This book is still one of my favourite books. I remember having this at school and just reading the bejesus out of it, like just never putting it down, because it is essentially an absolutely amazing book. So yeah, you got Abandoned Spoiler in here, Khan of Betrayer. Khan of Betrayer, like this is one of my favourite pictures of Khan of Betrayer. Can you see that? I'll picture it, everyone you have a quick glimpse of that and you can remember it. Brilliant picture. Baby Spile, Horror Blackheart. Okay, so he was back there as well. Okay, yeah, nice. Araman. Still, no Typhus. Wow. Okay, so Typhus must have been a lot later than I thought he was. Obviously, he wasn't in that other codex. You got some more characters at the back. You got ciphers in here. And some special graded evens in there as well. My hobby turning into Project Tidy. How are you finding your little man cave, Captain Jack? Obviously, we've seen some pictures recently come up on our Discord. It's looking very nice. Did Cortez die? Yes. Just me jumping to conclusions because I'm pretty sure we would have heard of him by now. I can't remember in Rin's world if it was left quite vague if he died or not. But let's face it, Vicky, those Crimson Fists had it coming. Terrible control of their arsenal. Just reading, it says he lost. Yeah. Yeah, I think Vicky, he might be dead. Although it'd be quite cool if he did come back, maybe in Primaris. I mean, Vicky, how does it feel to have a chapter that essentially has been completely neglected? I can tell you how it feels to be a Legion that's been completely neglected. But for a Space Marine chapter, you know, your head of Legion Master, Legion Chapter Master, not being put through the Primaris thing. You're right there. Neglected at the moment, having a lot of housework done, so turning into a dumping ground. I know that feeling. So, like I said, I've been away. I'm off to work, mate. Oh, cool. All right, well, it was very good to see you, mate. Hopefully you catch up soon. Very cool if you want to come down here, roll some dice. Good to see the Iron Warriors in action again. But yeah, take care of yourself and see you soon. What was I saying? Yeah, so essentially turn this around a bit. Going to IKEA this weekend. So hopefully I'll be able to get myself a new display cabinet, which will be going up against that wall over there. Look very snazzy. Flip this table around, going to carpet it out, and make it a bit more homely. Yeah, probably a bit like yours, a bit neglected at times. Vicky, with no Primaris Cantor model. Well, I'm sure I've seen rumours about a Primaris Cantor model that is coming out with the Wordbearer Codex. So once one comes out, the other will. It's never going to happen. So what other hobby are people working on, if anything? Obviously, Captain Jackson, a bit of tidy. Blues in some grots. How many grots are you working on, Mr. Blue? Mm-hmm. So yes, Vicky, you did. Currently, if you guys haven't seen it already, there is a World Eaters vs Night Lord game up on the channel between my sister-in-law, Vicky, and that bozo Baggins, Tom. If you like a good old-fashioned smashy, go and check it out. If you like your armies to be on the same level, everyone with one wound, with an old Codex, go and check it out. I think that's one of my favourite matchups. Old school Chaos Marines versus Chaos Marines. Yeah. Yeah, Mr. Blue, you're right. Yeah. So, like, kind of going on that note, 9th edition codexes now are suffering a lot from late 7th edition codexes and gameplay, where it just seems there's so much stuff going on. It's not as much fun. But some of the old 8th edition games, I think, are a little bit more level at this point. The Codex group in 9th is getting insane. I think if you try to put an 8th edition Codex against a 9th edition Codex, it's blooming hard work. I think my teeth are going to fall out. So, Vicky, if you could change anything in that army that you took against Tom, what would you change and why? And also, if you guys have seen that battle report between Tom and Vicky, with Night Lords controlled by Tom, and the World Eaters, obviously, by the ferocious Vicky, what would you change on either side? What units would you put in, and what units would you pull out? It can be down to gameplay-wise, or a narrative point of view, or, you know, just maybe you like that model. You'd like to see it painted as Night Lords or World Eaters. The list done really well, to be fair. Well, there's always room to change, Vicky. What would you put in? The Warp needs to go in. Yeah. Very cool model. Good points cost as well, actually, at Warpsmith. So, yeah, maybe Warpsmith would be a good choice. What about more cultists? I've just got to build and paint. Yeah, the new Warpsmith does look very cool. I do like it. You're going to give it a big chunky axe? I don't know if it'd look good with a classic World Eater helm, Vicky. The new Warpsmith. What do you think? Yeah, axe of the way. I think sometimes you just got to stick with an aesthetic all the way through with your army. Just stick with a theme and go all out. It's very hard sometimes, to be fair. But I think if you can, World Eaters obviously have a bit of a fascination with axe-based weapons. And I think if you can get as many axes, that's probably probably for the best. Comes to America, choice of pistol. Nice, very cool. I think a Warpsmith in combat as well is nothing to be sneezed at. I think they're still pretty cool, and especially a World Eater one could be quite painful. As for the Night Lords, I tell you what would look quite cool. Maybe a Night Lord Helldrake. That looked quite nice. I mean, gameplay wise, who knows? But I think like a lightning effect coming down the wings over the panels, that could look very cool. What units would look good, guys, for a Chaos Space Marine army? What would look good in World Eater colours? And what would look good in Night Lord colours? Like for my World Eaters, I've got a nice squad of Chosen that I like to run. Because the argument is, are they good as Berserkers? Possibly not. But I quite like this idea of a few Berserkers that keep surviving, that keep running alongside Khan, and they're like his little retinue that kind of go with him now. Now you just have to convince someone to paint a Helldrake. So impossible. A Helldrake is it's just a mission, isn't it? Is it rewarding? Maybe. I painted 3 or 4 Helldrakes over the years. I've painted a few of them, and they are definitely a mission to paint Helldrakes. But it is very rewarding, and I think especially if Tom was to paint one, maybe using some of the like vampire count bits as well, chuck that in the neck. I've seen that done, and that can look quite cool. Night Lord riding the Helldrake would be epic. Yes. Bit of a Matthew McConaughey moment. Maybe a World Eater, Matthew riding a Helldrake with a big old axe. Like, come on! That would look very cool. Paint one for you. Well, Vicky, I lent you my World Eaters for a long time, and so you used my Helldrake previously, I think, and so I'm not doing a World Eater one. Comparing the two, the Word Bearer one was definitely easier to paint than the World Eater one. The World Eater one, because of the copper and the kind of brass effect I was going for, was quite hard work. The paint kept separating. The silver is obviously a lot easier to do. And the red for my World Eaters is quite a bright red, where the Word Bearer is quite like the Wazdecker red, so it's quite subtle in comparison. You never used it. I think they serve a purpose, Helldrakes. They really serve a purpose currently, where it's just they're like an engagement unit to just lock something up in combat the first turn. If you think, for instance, you're going to get shot at by something big, and if you can just lock it up for a turn, just chuck that Helldrake straight across the field, down the gullet, and just try and hold out. I mean, your Helldrake, I don't think I've ever had like a charge that has worked out particularly well for the Helldrake, where you've actually wiped people. But you do need to kind of just think about the rest of your list, and if you can just engage something with the Helldrake, go for it. If it saves something else on the board, it's worth doing. When the Helldrake first came out, brilliant. really enjoyed playing Khan so far. Yeah. Khan is just legendary. He's that guy that if people see him, they will target him. He's not very durable, but what I like is playing Khan in there's like two sweet spots to play Khan. In that low value game where if he gets into combat, he will rip his way through the ranks of the opponent, like hacking away, and becomes a legend where he's just killing squad after squad after squad. On a normal pointed game, which I'd say normal, but I would say between 1750 or 1700 to 2000, it's a bit harder to play him. The other way of playing him is at the other end of the spectrum in an apocalypse game, where there's so many targets for your opponent to aim at. Like, for instance, you could have Titans, you could have Knights, you could have Great Demons, you could have heavy armor. And all you need is that cheeky little Khan the Betrayer in a little Rhino, or like lurking in the terrain, to sneak up there, pop Gorechild on, and just work your way through like ranks of people and back him up with some squads. And yeah, Khan can be absolutely amazing. And it's always a lot of fun. I've tried to do it in previous apocalypse games with Tom, with my Khan the Betrayer, and try and sneak him in, but Tom's very savvy and kind of asks where he is, because he knows exactly what Khan's capable of. Jack really wanted a good display space for my Drake. Was well happy with it. Yeah, absolutely. The Helldrake's a bit of a funny beast when it comes to like the size of him as well, isn't it? It kind of just points out everywhere. It's very hard to kind of transport him without it kind of compromising the model or the rest of the case. But to have him out and display it, yeah, definitely. It's like I said. I think anyone here in the chat who has painted a Helldrake previously knows the pain it is to paint a Helldrake. Just depending on what your colour scheme is, but I think definitely for a World Eater one, it's a bit of a pain. Night Lord one, pain, but can be very rewarding, I think. I've been running him in a Rhino with a squad of 8 Berserkers. Very cool, Vicky. Maybe run him in a Rhino with 8 Berserkers, and maybe put a Dark Apostle in there, and see if that can help with anything. That could be quite cool. Obviously, a Dark Apostle, of course. Oh man, I do love Khan. What other characters are pretty cool? Fabius. Now, I listened to the Fabius audiobooks, and I used to have the old metal model, like when it first came out years ago, when I was playing Chaos, and it was essentially anything Chaos that came out, I would buy. So I'd have like a bit of everything in there. And yeah, Fabius is a very cool model, especially the new one now. Probably give him the helmed head. The life expectancy of a Rhino can be calculated by the total points cost of its contents. I disagree on that, Mr. Blue. Like, from my experience, what I tend to do with my Rhinos, I don't know if this has been reflected in my battle reports, but I will kind of combine certain things in there. So generally what I'll do is I'll have either a Plague Marine squad or a Chosen squad with plasma guns. Previously Havoc squads, and like then 2 greater possessedness. That's a lot of points for putting on the rhinos, and most of the time they get to where they need to go. So that's normally how lucky I've been in the past. I think I've got 5, maybe 6 rhinos. I've got a lot of rhinos. Rhinos are definitely worth their weight in gold, though, especially when it comes to like apocalypse games. I'm not giving too much away for the April game, by the way. I don't know who's listening. I know Vicky's here. Vicky's cool. Vicky's on Team Chaos. But there might be some of those sneaky Imperial players listening at the moment. And we don't want to give too much away, Mr. Blue, because those Imperial players are very, very sneaky. I'm not even sure about talking to Vicky properly about this. It could actually be Tom in disguise. He's got a very convincing lady's voice. Like the Titan being a red herring. Exactly. Think I get that painted by April? Yeah. Maybe I've got another Titan. Maybe I've got a Reaver somewhere. Or a Warlord. But joking aside that, like, maybe it won't look awesome to everyone else, but in my mind, when I get that finished and painted, I think it's going to look quite cool. I don't know. I don't think I'm necessarily a great painter. Maybe I am. Maybe I'm not. I don't know. It's very hard because you compare yourself constantly to other painters, and or other content creators. And sometimes you just look at it and you're like, wow, how did they do that? And other times you look at pro painted on eBay and you're like, I'm a little bit better than that. I'm fine. So it's quite hard to know where you lie. But I think in my mind, like the base is turning out exactly how I planned with the base. So I'm happy with the base so far, and I'm going to work my way up. So I've already started painting the shin guards, the leg armor. I don't know if you can see that. Kind of hiding behind this tank, some of the leg armor, hiding behind that rust. And so you kind of, I think it's going to look good. And I don't know if other people will think it looks good, but in my mind, if it looks good, I'll be more than happy with that. I don't know if any of that rambling actually made any sense in any way. But that's just how I feel about painting in general. And I'm sure the rest of you are like that as well. Like maybe we're too hard on ourselves when it comes to painting models. But generally, I see myself more on the negative side than the positive side when it comes to model painting. Let me know your thoughts on your painting, not necessarily mine, but yours. Do you feel the same? Like people are logging on and viewing. I think they can see me eat. I'm doing more than eat. I'm also talking. When I'm talking, rambling, saying random words. So guys, where do you see your personal painting? Are you proud of what you paint, or do you think you can do better? Or are you really proud of what you do and you're kind of like, I've reached the top with nowhere to go? And it's a very personal question as well. You kind of put yourself out there on a bit of a limb and kind of hoping that people will, if you say you're terrible, that people will kind of either give you constructive feedback or kind of big you up a little bit. Captain Jack. I'm too lazy at painting. I try a technique and it'll look great, but then I'll never do it again due to effort. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I've tried a few different things over the years, and I think it's kind of best what suits you best, and if you've got a particular style in mind. Because I think generally, like, I'm just talking on a personal point of view, like maybe others feel the same thing. You tend to fixate on particular techniques when you're painting, and a particular style, what they look like, and maybe a palette group, and you kind of maybe stay in your comfort zone when it comes to that, rather than explore different techniques. Like, for instance, on a personal thing, maybe Tau. I don't know for how I would do Tau. I don't. Like, it would be easy for me to come with some sort of battle-scarred look. But also, I think a very clean, tidy, crisp look, like we've seen from, I don't know if Matt's in the chat tonight, but Matt has got a Tau army. Gavin, also, who's played on the channel, has got a nice Tau army. And they're very crisp techniques and crisp styles. And they look absolutely beautiful. If I could, I don't know if I could replicate that, but I think they're very nice looks. As a painting, it's like most things, it needs practice, feedback, and try new things. Look at my painting journey over the last 2 years, and I'm proud of what I've achieved so far. Yeah, I think definitely practice. Yeah, I think just constantly just paint can be really good. And I think sometimes it's a good thing to do. And I'm saying this is if I'm a good painter. I'm not. But in my experience, it's kind of, you sometimes need to be, so with my armies I currently have at the moment, I've got my word bearers, my general chaosy stuff. Then I have my Necrons. And then sometimes I'll do something a bit different. Like I might go back into my guard, do a bit of my guard. We've had like the Necromunda challenge in the past, and I think it's quite cool to just go out of your comfort zone and try these things, and then you can bring them back into what you're currently doing. So my Necrons, for instance, like the energy weapons they have and the power sources, I then put that back into some of the other armies and kind of recreated that. So, for instance, the Titan has got 2 of the big plasma cannons, and I'm kind of thinking what I might do is try and use my Necron technique a bit on that and some of the lights there. But it's definitely not necessarily always painting the same things constantly, but I think it's always painting, not always the same things, and you can bring things back and try again and add that to your toolbox, which I think we've tried to do on the painting challenges in the past, where we might ask you to do something a bit different. A lot of you guys have tried stuff and got out of your comfort zone and like come back in, so that's key. Like I said, after doing this base, I got some serious joy out of just painting a Titan's base, because like I said previously, like doing armies on parade and stuff like that, I would love to do that myself. So yeah, the base is slowly getting there anyway. There you go. Honestly, that lighting does make it look pretty cool. It actually looks so cool. But yes, what about everyone else's painting? What do they like about their painting or not like about their painting? You think their paintings could do an improvement? But as for your painting, definitely, because I think we've seen pretty much your whole painting journey now. And yeah, it's massive improvement. You've come on so far from where you were. And not saying that your stuff at the beginning wasn't great, but yeah, you've definitely done some good stuff. Tom the Hut, I totally suck at painting. I play a fair bit of symbol of wood resin, but none of my stuff is painted more than 3 colour minimum. Yeah. So yeah, I mean it's hard. I think part of it is, I mean, Tom, do you like what you've painted with 3 colours? Or do you just 3 colours is just what you need to get into, like if you play events, get into events, do 3 colour minimum, and you're like, the style I've done looks good? Or do you think you could do more to it? on a model. Let's do it, yeah. Been good enough. These are the people I play. Forward players. I don't know. Do people still see a lot of people that don't paint their models? I think maybe the likes of Duncan have brought painting to a more achievable level for people. Because I remember when I first started playing back in the day, when I had Goblin Green bases, it was a lot of grey stuff out there. Maybe the models and the paints and the painting tools and the videos and tutorials have become that much easier that painting seems a bit more, achievable than it has done previously. It's all unfinished. I have several armies and kill teams. I enjoy painting. Sat around with friends, but I enjoy assembling when I'm sat alone. Guess last year's. Yeah, absolutely, mate. Absolutely. I was thinking earlier. So myself and Tom and our friends, few of which have featured previously on the channel, we used to meet up weekly and have a little hobby night. So we'd all just sit around the dining table and just paint some stuff. I mean, I don't know if you guys would ever be interested in just watching that, like a group of 4 people just like sat around this table, painting away and chatting rubbish. Maybe you would. But there's something so beautifully social about this hobby. And it can be that you don't even have to make eye contact with the person opposite. But just to be in their vicinity, just chatting and making silly remarks is like some of the best times ever. Sometimes you just be playing, like, or just a couple of people painting in the corner, a couple of people playing a game. It's lovely. It's such a socially inclusive hobby. I never used to paint my bases way back when I first started. Oh, when you first started, were they the old sloppy bases? I was terrible, I think, when I first started. Like, my first painted army, like fully painted, was Necrons. Not the one I've got now, like maybe 1 Necron or 2 Necron armies ago. And that was the first time I fully painted an army. Otherwise, previously, I'd done Guard and, painted a few squads and tanks. I've done that. But I never painted a whole army. So, yeah, that was a major achievement. I think in our little group, I'm sure the others would say that maybe I set the benchmark there. That we, in fact, gone are the days of grey armies, and we were going to start painting our armies. I missed Discord hobby night. They were fun. Well, if you guys want to start them again, let's start them again. I'm more than happy. For those who don't know, Tom, I don't know if you're on our Discord. I'll put a link up anyway. We used to do a little cheeky Discord chat, and we'll just kind of hang out and do some hobby. It wasn't streamed or anything. It was just a nice little chat. So where were we? Millions of people watch actors play D&D. I think people would be down for it. Try it and see if feedback is like. People may love watching a group painting session. Yeah, I think if we did it, the sound would have to be quite good on there. Maybe try and rig it up with a few cameras, see what people are working on, or just general chat, because normally it is, yeah. Also, probably put some sort of rating on there as well, because we can get carried away, can turn quite explicit. Jack, I didn't like the idea, but it grass fighting on sand would look silly. My Necron army that I did paint, I based them all on desert bases, which look cool, but this was before we had proper like technical paints, so very reliant on the PVA being good, because I'd essentially end up with sand everywhere all the time, and yeah, it wasn't great. But I think that like the basing stuff you get now, just keeping with GW stuff, is brilliant, because you've got all these like little bits of tools there. You've got the grassy tufts. You've got the paint that dries to a particular effect. You can get custom bases either from GW or third party. Doesn't matter. And yeah, it's just like there's so much stuff out there for the hobby. You can have a whole theme, like the System of Battle I've got with like an urban-y theme going on with them, wherever they are. I'm going to add some brass shells to this autocannon. See how that looks. The thing is, I keep buying paints, and yet more paints keep disappearing. Where are you, brass scorpion? Is brass scorpion? Yeah. Use some paintbrush. Whoop, 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 whoop. Yeah, so maybe we'll try some streaming again on a Saturday and see if people are interested in that, just coming along and just doing a bit of hobby. It's always nice to have a catch up with people. And like Tom said, it's been a hard couple of years for people, and we're all kind of slowly getting back to some form of normality. And maybe there's a bit of apprehension about meeting up with larger groups of people again, which I think is a very valid point. You know, we've all kind of, not all of us, I think we've been relatively safe and secure. And now time is kind of going, you know, the world's kind of going, look, it's fine, especially in the UK. Like I said, I was in mainland Europe last week, and it is very different to the UK in how they're dealing with COVID. No right or wrong, but in the UK, it's a bit more relaxed at the moment, and people maybe coming out and socialising more, a bit of apprehension behind that, which, yeah, like I said, is valid. And maybe they're not quite ready to be in those big groups. And maybe their friends are remote, and, you know, it's quite nice to have these little things. So like I said, I had COVID the other week, and so I was able to catch up. I don't know if I've streamed since, maybe I have. Catch up on a lot of films and stuff. Has anyone watched anything particularly interesting lately? Anything that I should be checking out? I see Walking Dead started again, so I've started to get back on that one. What else is out there that I'm not watching at the moment that I should be watching? That's the question. Reach I've heard that's good. definitely got to give that a go. Yeah, quite a few people now have said that's good. I'll definitely give that a go, I think. In fact, that's one of those names that just keeps coming up. And I'm like, I'll definitely give that a go, and still haven't. So yeah, I should give that a go. Sunny in Philadelphia. Sunny in Philadelphia. It's on Netflix. Yeah. How many seasons of that are going now? Must be quite a few. $15. That's just crazy. So what did I watch during? I can't remember if I talked about this at all, but I definitely watched the latest Terminator film, Dark Fate, I think it was. I watched that. Yeah. Bye, Vicky. Toodaloo. Good to see you. Carry on paying those defilers. More demon engines, the better. Oh, I watched that zombie series on Netflix. That's another thing I watched. We're All Dead. Is that it? The Korean one. I don't know if anyone else watches that. And of course, all of Boba Fett. So there's been a few good bits coming up to watch and do. And that, my friends, is pretty much it on the base. Off. So like I said, on the legs here, I've got to give a little Obi-Wan is coming out soon. Cannot wait for that. I think the more stuff that comes out for the Star Wars universe, the more I appreciate it and love it. Obviously, you got the original trilogy, and that was, it's amazing. And then you've got the prequels and then the more later ones as well. And I think I kind of rewatched some of those as well, to be honest. And I think, especially Mandalorian, Boba Fett, I am loving the world they've kind of created. And it's just one of those, like, you can get completely immersed in it, and it's absolutely brilliant. Like, you could be slightly critical for both the series, and got good points and bad points. But I think the world they're creating, absolutely astounding. So what else did I watch? The Hobbit films. I rewatched those. Yeah. Once again, similar to the Star Wars world, brilliant, absolutely brilliant stuff going on. But the films themselves, yeah, they've got some good points and bad points. So back to old Titany. Yeah, so my next plan is, now it's dried, I'm going to probably put a coat on tonight and put a bit of silver on him. And then start on the weathering process. I don't know if you can really see here, because actually it's all black. It's quite hard. Oh, there we go. Got a bit like that. They got some red. I'm going to put some panels here. Obviously, you've got the big leg guards there, and on the toes, got some armor plates on the toes there. Responder's pretty good with Freeman. I've heard it. I've heard it's good. I've heard Freeman's really good in it. I don't know if that's true, Jack. Would you say Freeman is especially good in it? I think with Freeman, normally he just says Freeman in everything he does. That's what I watched. The Gentleman, Guy Ritchie, and Hugh Grant. If you haven't watched it already, Hugh Grant in The Gentleman is absolutely brilliant, because I think he's a bit like Freeman in some ways, or like other actors, where most of the time they just have the same character they're going to be, just in different films. And Hugh Grant in The Gentleman is brilliant. Really, good acting by Mr. Grant in that. Awesome. Maybe I'm allowed to say the rest of that word. Oh, cool. Responder, is that on iPlayer? Or I don't think it's on 4OD. Maybe it's on iPlayer. Maybe. Who knows? Who knows? Willow, you turned me into a coat. Been a long day. iPlayer. Deutsch. Yeah, I should really write some of this down. iPlayer. Nice. As a fail, have you watched it as well? If you've watched it. I don't know what's coming out on Warhammer Plus this week, actually. If it's not something animated, I'm going to be a bit disappointed, to be honest. It should only be a bit more of that Tau series. Because I have been enjoying that Tau series. So just one episode so far. Oh, Henry Cavill. Or Cavill. Henry Cavill? Cavill. Superman. Going to Warhammer World. What was he doing at Warhammer World, people? Did we think he was recording something, except for a little promo for Games Workshop? Or having a little snooze? Yeah. On the watch list. Nice. Right, I've really got to glue some Necron Warriors at some point. Let's give it a go. Let's see what we got here. 36. 36, 26, 36. Here we go. 36 and 39. Hello. Any plans to return? Return to your Garl army. The Scion project was a legendary. Yes, there are plans. I mean, it's a bit of a hard one, to be honest, because I'm kind of waiting to see what happens with Guard. It's a bit like the World Eaters and the other, where you kind of like you want to go back in and revisit them and do some more bits. But because they haven't released anything, it kind of makes me a bit kind of a little bit concerned that if I reinvest any money into it, what's the army going to look like when it comes out? One of the issues I have with my my Militarum Tempestus, let's say, is that originally they were going to be like a combined effort of Valkyries and Taurox Primes. But Valkyries, at the moment, the way they stand and the way they're putting the rules in with the limitation on flyers, it doesn't quite work. So they're kind of being more like a ground mechanized force than the airborne. So I'd have to try and rethink of a way of doing it. I don't know if any of that makes any sense. But I do love them. I think they're such a nice glass hammer. I think there's a good skill set behind running them because they are so fragile. They can die in droves, and they are a cool army. And I'd really love to see them kind of, yeah. So yes and no. There are plans. I'm waiting for the new Codex, and it's definitely an element of my army that I want to get back on board with and do some stuff. So hopefully, I'm glad you really liked it though. That's the main thing, because they are fun to play, and it's nice seeing the underdog. Essentially, they're always going to be underdog, doing well. I think myself and Tom have played a game. Oh my God, we're facing off against his Black Templars, I believe, in an Apocalypse game. And one of the cool little things I had with that is my Sirens. I gave them an objective to achieve. There was like a position on the board, and I was like, "We're going to take that for you." And it was brilliant. I love these little covert missions that I'm going to give myself. Like, cannot be part of the bigger plan, but in my mind, it's a cool little mission to do. And that's been as a tall, scary one says hello, by the way. Hello, tall, scary one. Good to hear from you. Anyone else use more greens to make orcs like more like a rebel and less standard? Yes, think greens on my blood bowl. Orcs. I've only painted one orc for a very long time. The green's alright, not amazing. Little focus. Enhance. Not really going to work, is it? No, that's it. Makes a lot of sense. I hear on flight gaps. Absolute narrative you can bring to any Scion games. Cool. Thanks for response. Keep up the great work. Not a problem. Actually, one more thing on the Scions while we're talking about it, because I do love Scions. Awesome. I've always wanted to do. Don't know if anyone's familiar. Like the attack on Pegasus Bridge in World War II with the British Airborne capturing the bridge. Germans were holding it. I'd love to do something like that for Scions. Just like I love these little tactical forces that just go in and they can just and capture an objective. That's something I'd really love to do. So yeah, not a problem anyway. Scions. A lot of respect for anyone who plays Scions. I'm not gonna read that one up. We're too far. Very good. And that's kind of why I love Apocalypse games. Because I think Apocalypse games you can just add this extra bit of scale to. You can almost try and represent it in a normal game. But I think in apocalypse game, they're their own thing, and I think it's absolutely brilliant. Before we started the channel, we actually did a bridge too far game where we had all these boards. You'd have like 2x4s, a bridge, another 2x4, another couple of bridges, etc. And that was a really cool game where it's like an advance and the defenders either held or trying to fall back, and that was brilliant fun. But I think in apocalypse games, you can have all these little cool missions. Like there could be a shield generator that may or may not affect anything in game, but the story behind it is maybe defending like from orbital bombardment. You take it out, and then you can have orbital bombardments coming in and stuff like that, or bunkers where HQ retinues are lurking in bunkers. There's so many different ideas you can do for apocalypse, and and normal games. But I think definitely, like I said, they come into their own in apocalypse games. Something like they play kill teams, silence. Good in that. They're fun and fluffy in that type of game. I think I played the old kill team with Scions. I haven't played the new one. I do want to play the new one. It's just getting time and finding someone that also plays kill team. But that does bring on to another little question I've got for you guys. Has anyone watched those how to play videos on Warhammer Plus? And are they any good? Because there's one on Kill Team, and I don't know if it's any good or not. Might be amazing. I'm just going to chuck this link out again for Discord. If anyone's coming in or you want to give this to a friend as a birthday present, go for it. Imagine getting a Discord link for your birthday. What kind of friend would that be? Convinced I'm going to do one Necron today. Oh, thank you for your Discord link. That's really great. Really appreciate it. Because I've kind of heard the new Kill Team is quite cool. And like the new Chaos stuff that's coming out for Kill Team, I can definitely get involved in that. Yeah, because I know there's like Blood Bowl tutorial videos on Warhammer Plus, but I've never got around to watching it. And I don't know how different Blood Bowl is in comparison to where it used to be. For instance, if I played Blood Bowl originally years ago, how different is Blood Bowl now? This chair is very creaky, by the way. So if you're hearing noises that you could think maybe are my joints or like parts of my body, they're in fact the chair. Honestly, they are the chair. Uh, 37, 38 feet. I'm going to try and do one Necron Warrior here. Once I've done that, I think we're going to call it a night. But guys, if there's anything else you want to talk about tonight before we call it a night, feel free to chuck it in the chat. Let me know. Next week, myself and Tom should be recording again. I am still here. Do not worry. Just trying to get this Necron Warrior. The Necron Warriors are very fiddly. Pretty sure most of you experience these guys by now. As of how are your Necrons coming on? Obviously, you've been concentrating on, well, when you've had hobby, you've been concentrating on your fancy pants night. I don't know if you experienced your Necron Warriors yet. What head goes on this guy? A 40 or a 48? Don't drop the heads, don't drop the heads. I tell you, actually, one more thing before we go. We've got a couple more minutes. The announcement of the Necromunda Ash Waste stuff coming out. So you got vehicles for Necromunda. I think maybe it's going to be a bit Warhammer-ish. This is just my maybe wish listing rather than any actual proof behind that. But I think that'd be absolutely awesome. If you have your own vehicles and you'll like customize, that could look brilliant. You mean the ones I haven't touched since my test run? I'm building them. My fingers not that small. Yeah, honestly, it's just crazy trying to glue these together. Pain in the bum. 5, 6, 8, 9. Oh, maybe. People call it that. So, guys, thank you very much for watching tonight. Hopefully, we'll be back to normality soon. Like I said, work for me is now hopefully calmed down a bit. I've had the COVID. So that's done, and Tom will hopefully be back soon as well. We're recording a game next week. Hopefully I can record the Crusade game this week as well. Either myself playing or someone else playing and me watching. But anyway, guys, until next time. Until next time, this is Tom from Blackdown Studios. Thank you very much and take care. Toodaloo.